We're back with the final organization that we're featuring on our social service theme for this week, in keeping with the Mandela Day, which is tomorrow. And to welcome, uh, please join me in welcoming Muhammad Riyad Limbada. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, Mulana.
وعليكم
Can you hear
السلام
me?
ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Mulana
وعليكم
represents the
السلام ورحمة الله.
organization.
I hear you clearly.
Okay, we live on air now. Molana represents the organization Crescent of Hope. Oh, that's such a wonderful name. But just give us a brief on what does Crescent of Hope provide. What type of service does Crescent of Hope provide?
Well, Alhamdulillah, Jazakumullah for the opportunity. Firstly, Assalamu alaikum to yourself, to all the listeners.
Walaikum salam.
I must apologize for the quality of the reception. We have no electricity. They stole the entire transformer last night. So the reception's been very bad. I'm glad that this is a bit clear now, and I hope you can hear me clearly, inshallah.
Yes, we can. So go ahead, Molana.
Alhamdulillah. So
What
Crescent of Hope, I'm
what
tending to
type of,
lose you there, unfortunately.
no,
Uh,
okay, I'll repeat the question. What type of service does Crescent of Hope provide?
Look, Crescent of Hope is a vast organization. If I may start, the origins, in the early 90s, the backdrop of the Somalian refugee crisis, I think
Mhm.
this was one of the biggest catastrophes in our modern history. The drought in the Horn of Africa was, there were places that didn't have. There was a delegation from South Africa that went down to try and assist there. It was made up from businessmen, philanthropists, individuals from the Jamiat as well. And whilst in Kenya, sitting under a tree in one of the very impoverished areas, the guys decided to start an organization to assist. There was an organization in Kenya called Crescent of Hope Kenya. So they thought to work with them, and because they were hosting all the outside organizations that were coming there, and they thought we work with them and we'll call it Crescent of Hope South Africa. So in 1992, I think in Hafiz Ismail Kolvadia's house, this was formulated and started. Um, and they used the same name, Crescent of Hope. I think this appealed to all at the time, and because of the relationship with that organization. Um, so we had done a lot of work, a lot of food distribution, hampers, building huts for the refugees. Entire rig was sponsored from South Africa through Crescent of Hope, and sent to Kenya so that they could dig the boreholes and provide water for these people who had severe drought.
Mhm.
Having done all of that and gaining the experience there, we had realized the need for water, especially in South Africa as well. So many areas where people had to walk 4, 5, 6 kilometers just to fetch clean water. So Crescent then decided to obviously concentrate their efforts in a South African context and help overseas whenever and wherever we could as a responsibility, but the obligation being to serve South Africans, as this is a South African organization run by South Africans for South Africans.
Right. Now tell us about the organization in the context of Lenasia and the community of Lenasia, and over the last 70 years, um, although it was fairly new organization in that sense, but historically, how have we moved forward?
Obviously, when 1992 was just prior to the new dispensation, the new South Africa. So the legacy that, the old regime had left was obviously one that I don't need to highlight. There was severe needs, or severe lack rather, of social services towards every community. There was lack of infrastructure, there was lack of things. Lenasia as a community was very central, Johannesburg based. Our efforts were more out of Lenasia initially in the rural areas because people were struggling, especially with water, etc. But, after 94 as well, things have not changed much for many people. I think, guys, the monthly welfare list has increased so much. If I give you a little example, just around us where I am based here in Didier, we started a small feeding scheme on a Friday after Juma, distributing food. I think after the COVID, this has gone up to 400, 500 people we have to provide for because the lines have just grown longer and longer. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Crescent of Hope trying to have skill centers all over the show. We have about 14 now, trying to teach people some sort of skills and empower them so that they can, learn a skill and earn and provide for their families, etc. And as far as Lenasia itself is concerned, seeing this is obviously more Lenasia based, our network around Lenasia of helping widows, orphans, impoverished, destitute people in all the surrounding areas, this is on a continuous basis.
Mm-hmm.
Providing water is still one of the big things. We have done, I think, in excess of 1,000 boreholes around the country. This is
Mm-hmm.
from the time of inception. Um, and obviously, there were many other needs. For example, the scourge of drugs, as that came about, and we have now 2 rehab centers which are also running. I think you yourself can remember. Maybe 15, 20 years ago, yourself and I, we ran these support groups, starting humbly there at Harmony Primary, and it grew bigger from the classroom to the staff room to the Talimun Islam Hall there, and then at the Johnson and Johnson Conference Center at Lenmed Clinic. So all these efforts continuous and trying to meet needs of community as a responsibility of people living in the community who can assist.
Right. So we see the dynamism of the members of our community that had the vision and, of course, the compassion and the responsibility towards the vulnerable of at the time, the community, now the country. We speak more about that after this break with our guest, Maulana Muhammad Riyaz Limbada.
Penny Appeal's Education First campaign helps children to get access to quality education.
I'm 14 years old. When I grow up, I'd like to be a scientist.
We believe every child belongs at school,
And we want education, a better education.
learning and dreaming their way to a better future. With your help, we can provide classrooms, desks, stationery packs, and school shoes. Help make these dreams a reality. Visit www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness, and every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
Dad, these Frymax chips are so tasty.
Wow, that really takes me back. My dad bought me a Frymax chips every day after school. They were my favorite when I was your age as well. Quality is at the very heart of what we do, and that's why we ensure that every Frymax packet is filled with the beautiful goodness and flavor-packed taste that you've come to expect from us since 1982. Frymax, from generation to generation.
Valley's Motor Spares. We supply motor spares and accessories for all makes and models of motor cars, LDVs, buckies, trucks, and earth-moving equipment. We deliver on time, every time. Please contact us via WhatsApp on 014-592-0925 or call 014-592-0925 or visit 28 Zenderling Street, Rustenburg. Remember the name, Valley's Motor Spares.
You South African, of course. You anxious about the future. We've got you covered. Build on your wealth portfolio with Randry Jewelers Gold Coin Exchange. Visit us at 151 Stephen Dlamini Road, Musgrave, Durban, or call us on 031-202-4700 for more information. Randry Jewelers Gold Coin Exchange, your passport to gold investment.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
I am Najma Kota with you up until 1 o'clock on our Lens 70 podcast series. And this morning we've highlighted the contributions that social service organizations have made over the years in Lenasia and from the Lenasia community with vision and passion and compassion. And of course, like I said, the responsibility of taking care of the vulnerable in the community. Before the break, Mulana, you just touched on the services of the drug rehab centers. Now we see I don't want to just talk about what you provide and where the the service is located, etc. But before that, we see that the dynamics of the Lenasia community changed over the years. If you look at 70 years post-apartheid, like you mentioned, and we found that we were a bit more exposed to the scourges. Socioeconomic reasons probably had a huge impact on how people coped. Last week we spoke to a mental health researcher, and she gave us some shocking figures of between the ages of 19 and 25. I think she said 65% have mental health issues, specifically depression. So we can't, just always be so airy-fairy about Lenasia and Lenasians. When I say that, I don't mean that, we should be highlighting just the fact that, we had our struggle stalwarts there. They provided the resilience and they gave us the opportunity to become a free nation and contributed to that. However, there is a reality to where we're living now. What would your comment be on that, Mulana?
Look, absolutely, Najma. I think that, yes, around the world, globally, people normally tended to probably drown their sorrows or tend to forget by using some substance, when life is hard. Yes, Lenasia obviously was no exception. As you pointed out rightly, socioeconomic, etc. All, yes, conditions added to the whole situation. I think there's a number of reasons. Even the lack of active policing later or now in these times, etc., just led to all of this. I think so. It's an age-old thing. I think somebody just taking a bit of a drink or a little smoke to just tend to forget or to just try and alleviate the stress and the suffering. So this was, the fitra of insan. It was man's just his capacity to try and deal with a coping mechanism, I would say. But the nature of the drugs have changed. So back in the day, if we look at 20, 30 years ago, there was no heroin, there was no crystal meth. The guy was smoking weed. I'm not glorifying it at all, but he was still functional. Yes, so he could come from work and have a supper, whatever it was, and have a little smoke and just ease his mind and wake up in the morning and go back to work. The nature of these drugs now, they instant addiction. When the guy is high, when he's coming down, he's shaking, he can't function. He needs another hit. So the dependencies have grown. And then obviously, the sign of the times, spirituality has been eroding in our society. Guys maybe had the solace of some sort of prayer or, just faith in itself, keeping them going. I think this has eroded to a great extent. We're moving rapidly towards a godless society, South Africa and everywhere else. So people tend to have just in this problem, like you said, we salute the vision of, our forefathers and even the founders of these organizations and the boards that they tried to address these issues from 1992. Magaliesburg Health Center there for boys has been since the 90s. So it's like over 30 years old. And the girls, obviously, this was from post World Cup. In fact, prior to the World Cup, the need for rehabilitation or even an institution to house females became a necessity. So I suppose all of these things have contributed to it. There's so much we could discuss that are the causes or reasons for it. But like you're saying, at least some people had the vision and the foresight to try and, bring in structures to try and combat this or to try and effectively try and assist.
Right,
100%.
and we make dua, inshallah, that the work continues. And when we say the work
Ameen.
continues, we hope that we can actually fix the cause and not fixing the problem all the time. So, but having said that, the problem needs to be fixed nonetheless. Quickly, Molana, what does Land 70 mean to you?
Look, I myself, I was born and bred in Johannesburg city center, but we had to come to high school in Indonesia. We traveled by train initially and then by bus, and this was in the 70s, etc. And then we moved, well, as you put it, we were moved forcibly. And we had to come into Lens. I was there from 1981. So I suppose that makes us also a Lensi, as one of your, I think Uncle Butti said. So 100%. And I think that the 70 years of Lens, of Lenasia, and how people have lived and how people have created their own infrastructures, their own service providers, their own organizations. And one of your other guests alluded that this has become a city and it's self-sufficient and etc. So Alhamdulillah, yes, in 70 years we have progressed tremendously. We still, I'm living in Didier now, but everything is still in Lens. We visit often, we shop there, we do everything there. So
Right.
Indonesia, well, salute to you. You have done well in 70 years. Yes, there are the problems. We're listening to all these organizations prior to us, to my coming on, and we saluting. And it's heartwarming to see that people care about their brethren, care about their neighbors. And we should be doing this continuously,
That's right.
Just off the topic, I read a little clip that said there was a toll gate that was malfunctioning in Japan, and they had to switch it off because it created a big traffic jam. So it was just open, and they lamented at the end of the day that 28,000 cars had passed this toll gate without having to pay, and this was a great loss of income. Lo and behold, the next morning, 21,000 of those people had paid into the account. Now, would
Oh,
that happen here?
yeah.
Probably impossible. You understand? So I'm
Well,
saying we
it's a
need to be
different
those
culture.
people.
Yeah.
We need to be living.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So there's efforts. It's just feeding, and like you said, giving a man a fish every day when he's hungry is not the answer. Let's try and give them the fishing rod. And this is
Mhm.
why Crescent have embarked more on the education programs, on
Right,
bursaries for higher education, on skill centers, skills development. In most
right.
of the
We
impoverished
just
areas, we have
right,
creches, we have little nursery schools, we have after school feeding schemes, and just a
sure.
little class to teach them some sort of values and
Right.
principles, and just bringing humanity back to humanity.
What I've learned is that each and every organization comes up with one specific need and then branches out into so many others because that's the need for the day. And I think that's been highly inspirational for us
Absolutely.
all who have been listening to our different representatives of different social service organizations this morning. Jazakallah khair, Maulana Muhammad Riyaz Limbada, Director of the Girls Rehab Center in Dadir, Crescent of Hope. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam. Thank you so much for having us. Jazakumullah for the opportunity. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ameen. Wa alaikum salam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And to close off today's program, we shift a little away from the feature on the social service organizations in Lenasia, and we speak to a resident of Lenasia since, he's a resident of Lenasia since 1963. It is Member of Parliament Imran Musa.